So, it's been a week, huh? Hello, everyone. My name is SoundScore, and welcome to the second ever episode of the Weekly Yap. I know, it's crazy. After one comes two. Turns out I can do a little bit of math. Alright, well, anyway, I think it's better to just get straight into things. I've got a few things to talk about today. I already tried recording this once, and then I stopped because I couldn't collect my thoughts properly, but I think I should be good now. And I'm glad, because I do have a good few things to talk about today. And namely, the first one on the list is TwitchCon is coming up. I could not be more excited. This is going to be my first ever, I guess, proper convention that I'm going to myself. Just me. My parents aren't going to be there. It's just going to be me hanging out with friends, and I could not be more excited. In exactly 2 weeks from today, I will be in California, and oh man, I don't think I'm prepared. I don't think I'm prepared, to be honest. And I think the reason why it's not even something where I'm just completely nervous. I mean, I am, but I'm not nervous to meet people. It's more like I'm just nervous to, I don't know, make good impressions, right? Because, so many people are going to be there that I, really look up to, and I just want to make sure I do a good job. And a part of me is, talking to other people, I'm definitely overstressing about it. I got the chance to talk to a pretty good friend, again, for the first time in a while, which was really, really, really nice, and he helped really ease my nerves about things. But there is still definitely that, background thought of just, what if everything goes horribly? What if I, eat shit on a staircase or something, and then a bunch of people laugh at me? It's very fascinating to me being, anxious for an event for I want to say for the first time in probably over 10 years. I can't remember the last time I was properly nervous for something, unless I was, competing in it. Sure, with robotics, I was nervous, but, I wasn't nervous for the event itself. I was just hoping that a robot wouldn't fail. But this is, I think, the first time in a while where I've really been nervous for an actual event that I'll just kind of be at. I mean, who knows? I could end up, properly participating in some things, but, that's a big unknown right now. So I'm not gonna try to make that claim. I'm not gonna try to make that guarantee. But I think regardless, I am still very excited about TwitchCon. It's coming up fast, and I know that it's only gonna be a matter of time. I'm gonna try to, I will try to record a weekly yap either right before I leave, or I might try to record one when I land. I am gonna bring some of my equipment with me, just in case, something really cool happens and I want to record something. What I'm probably gonna do is I'm probably gonna bring my old microphone, my HyperX, which now I'm really glad I kept it. I was originally gonna give it away, or sell it to a friend, or sell it on eBay or something, but now I am very glad I didn't do that, because it is a USB mic, so it should work perfectly for the purpose. But anyways, besides that, it's been a pretty interesting few days. I got my Wi-Fi back this Monday. Everything is finally working properly. And I was able to stream twice. I streamed yesterday and on Monday, and there has been an overwhelming amount of support recently that sort of just came out of nowhere. I guess maybe I was gone for so long that people really missed me, but it has been incredible to see the amount of support coming from my community as of late. It's been really, really, I almost want to say humbling, because it's I guess I kind of keep telling myself, and I want to just establish that I kind of am in that same mindset, at least in some aspects, that I was last week, where I'm still really concerned about kind of the stuff that I'm doing, but I'll get more into that here in a little bit. But, I guess there was a massive outpouring of support on this last few streams, and I've just been over the moon because of that. I never expected them to do that well. I always kind of hope that my streams do at least decently, because, I mean, who wouldn't want their streams to do well? But I guess I just didn't really expect how well it would be received. And I'm really happy about it. I definitely want to say that. I am very happy that that I am making people's day. Like, I guess the way that I see it, right, is that, like, I very often, I'm an overthinker by nature, and a part of that is I very often tell myself, like, I almost try to gaslight myself into thinking that I'm not, like, doing anything right, when in reality, I very clearly am making an impact and bringing entertainment to people, because I feel like it doesn't logically make sense for people to be as supportive, especially recently, financially supportive, as they are if I wasn't providing something to them. And I feel like that's something that I've overlooked recently, and I'm sort of upset with myself about, because I feel like I'm sort of, I guess, undervaluing my audience, and I that's something I don't want to do. And on that note, I think that's the main thing that I kind of want to talk about today is I feel like as of recently, I know this is something that like every single content creator says is don't put like too much value on your view count, specifically on your average view count, especially for streamers. Don't put too much value on your average view count. Well, I am here to say that I, Sinoscore, have been putting too much value on my view count, and I think it definitely has been hurting me. I felt as of recently just kind of down because I'm kind of just telling myself that like I'm not doing well because I'm not getting the averages that I might see other colleagues getting, or that I kind of told myself that I should expect for my size. And I think that in some realms there is maybe some truth to that, where it's like there is still definitely that side of me that's saying like, well, why am I not doing as well? Like, is there a reason? Like, am I maybe not appealing to my longtime viewers as much? Am I like doing something wrong? I will say I feel like as of recently I have changed, but I don't think it's enough to like really cause that much of a dip in viewership. But I don't know, that's something that I've definitely been overthinking about and overstressing about, and I kind of want to turn away from that as much as I can going forward, because it is just it's just unhealthy. It's unhealthy to do. It's unhealthy to be constantly thinking about like, oh, how well is this doing? How well is that doing? It's just not gonna be really beneficial in any way. And I think the more that I focus on like the whys and hows of specifically my averages, I think that's just gonna hurt me in the long run. I think the thing that I need to do, I guess, the most right now is focus on, I guess the way to say it would be mental stability, I think is a really good way of putting it. Because I will say that's one thing that I think I don't think I've gotten to the point of struggling with it yet, per se. Like, I definitely don't think that I've been struggling mentally, at least that much. Like, I've been through the ringer in a lot of aspects, so I feel like I'm definitely not totally, you know, down in the dumps or whatever. But I definitely do think that I need to establish good, healthy habits now, because otherwise I definitely will regret it later on. And that goes into both, I think, my schedule for streaming, like the way I stream, how long I do it. And I think the biggest aspect of that is, I guess, how much I try to enjoy my own streams. Because I think that's something that, don't get me wrong, I love my streams. Every single one of them I adore. But I definitely think that, like, I don't even know how to explain it. I feel off as of recently whenever I finish a stream, and I don't think that's a good sign. I just don't think that's a good thing. I feel like, I mean, granted, I should be a little bit tired, because obviously it is work, it is effort to, you know, talk for 6 hours straight. But I think the way to put it is I don't want to feel as stressed whenever I'm making streams. Like, I don't want to feel as pressured as I have recently, because as of recent, just to explain where these thoughts are coming from, I felt a lot of intrinsic pressure within myself to like make every single stream like better than the last one, and be like min-max my entertainment value, and do all these things to try to like, I guess, make quote unquote the perfect stream, when that is the worst thing you could do. Because obviously there is no, like, correct recipe for a stream. There's not going to be, like, a perfect way to do it. There's not going to be, like, an exact method or an exact formula for finding success. Like, everyone sort of finds it in their own way. And I definitely feel like that's escaped the forefront of my mind. I think it definitely has, because I feel like as of recently, I've just been so dead focused on making the best possible things every single time that I'm sort of forgetting to also enjoy myself. And I do definitely think that that is probably a big part of what's been affecting my numbers lately. Like, I feel like I have no doubt that, like, I guess how do I say this? I don't think my audience is stupid. I feel like they've definitely caught on to the fact that, like, I've been stressed. Like, I've been not exactly doing perfectly, and I don't want that for them, I guess would be the way to say it. Like, I'm not gonna try to pretend to be like some perfect person or like perfect streamer, but I definitely, like, if I don't feel well, I don't think it's right for me to try to make content if I'm not feeling well myself. Like, I don't want to just like sit there and kind of like force myself to be like, hey, how's it going, everybody? Oh, this rock is cool, this lamp is awesome. Like, I don't want to do that, because it feels disingenuous. It really does. Like, it just feels like I'm lying, and it sort of just eats away. And I fucking hate that feeling. I fucking hate it. Like, it's one of those things where, like, I feel like I don't know, just poisoning myself trying to make everything perfect. And I don't want to be doing that anymore. I don't want to be constantly telling myself that, like, every stream has to be perfect, that everything has to be, like, an exact way or stuff like that. Because I feel like that just doesn't help anybody. It doesn't help anybody. I think my streams should be authentic. Like, I can just be me. If I'm not talking every single second, like, of course I need to make things entertaining, but if I'm not talking every second, like, that's fine. And I think that definitely it's helped me with that, the fact that I've been watching a lot of friends lately and a lot of just other streamers in general. And as it turns out, other streamers also don't talk 24/7. And I think that that's definitely been a really, really, really big help. You know, just watching other people being like, okay, this isn't actually the expectation. Because I think that's what I was really telling myself, that, like, talking constantly was the expectation when streaming. And that, like, I sort of had to do that, or else, like, bad thing would happen and people would stop watching. And while I do still, like, want to figure out, like, what causes people to stop watching and, like, kind of, like, figure out the best way to do my own content, because I mean, I do think it is helpful to try to, you know, seek your own self-improvement. I don't think reading as much into it as I have been is healthy at all. In fact, I think that I've been reading into things so much that I'm just sort of I'm cooking nothing. I think that's the best way to say it. I am cooking nothing right now. I'm just kind of aimlessly trying to do stuff without any real purpose. And I think that it is okay to experiment, but I feel like I need to at least experiment with existing passion. Like, if I'm gonna try, like, a new thing, I wanna, at the very least, care about the new thing that I'm trying. Like, I don't want to just try shit for the sake of trying it, because then if it does work and it turns out I fucking hate that thing, then what am I gonna do? Like, let's say I started ASMR. Not saying that I hate ASMR, but it's like, it's not something that I would typically do. Let's say I started that and it did incredibly well, and then I sort of am forced to do ASMR constantly in order to, like, maintain myself. I would hate it. I would hate it, because, like, if you're doing something that you don't really like, obviously it's gonna be degrading, and it's gonna be just, it's gonna feel like torture constantly, because you're not gonna be doing something that you like. And yeah, you're just not gonna be doing stuff that you really like or really enjoy. Now, that being said, I do still think I am going to try a lot of new things, but I'm going to be more, I guess, selective when it comes to them and just overall try to be more, I don't know, be more myself. I think that's what I've been really missing lately, is just being myself, being my most authentic me that I can be. Because while I do think that I am always, like, I'm always gonna be me. Like, I'm not that good of an actor that I can, like, completely fake it, like, and just be a whole different person on stream. I mean, maybe I could be that good of an actor, but I'm certainly not that patient to do it for 6 hours. But I feel like just being more relaxed when I'm on stream and not constantly being worried about, like, everything I say being like, oh, it's like, is that gonna, like, remove a viewer? Is that gonna attract a viewer? You know, like, all of that stuff. I think just being relaxed, being myself, and just overall, like, still trying to make the best stuff I can be. I think that's really the best thing that I can do right now. I do think it is. Because, I mean, what else really is there to do? Like, from talking to people, I'm not gonna just spontaneously, like, there's nothing that I can really do to just find success overnight. It's gonna happen naturally, and it's gonna happen through experimentation, and it's gonna be difficult, and it might take more time, it might take a little. There might be people who are doing better than me, who've been doing it for a shorter amount of time than me, and that's okay. Like, that's the thing about content creation, is that it's something with limitless potential, but you never know how long or how short it's gonna take. Like, sure, you're gonna have your people who might pop off overnight, but then they might be poor on the streets in a week. Like, I don't wish that on anybody. Like, of course, I wish everyone the absolute best, but it is a thing where it's a volatile industry. It's a very volatile industry, and I don't know where success could come from. And it is important to me that I do succeed. I am going to succeed. And I guess I'm just trying to figure out how to be okay with it not happening immediately. You know what I mean? Because I definitely do think that, like, because I've been told by, like, a lot of people who would have no reason to lie to me, and they said, like, hey, yeah, I think you're quite entertaining. Like, I think you could go far in this space. And then not exactly knowing how to, you know, really, what's the word? I guess really nail down what theirs, like, I guess what I'm trying to figure out is how to see within myself what other people see in me, right? Like, friends, family, other creators, like, they might say, like, oh, you're doing pretty good in this. And I guess just trying to figure out what they see, and I guess bringing that to the forefront. You know, just trying to be the best version of myself that I can be, I think, is really the only focus I have right now. Because, I mean, I'm at a point where there's not really anything else that I can do. Like, I'm gonna, like, obviously, I'm gonna, like, keep trying new things and experimenting, like I talked about before. But I just feel like it's gonna go as it's gonna go. Like, there's not gonna be a eureka moment, probably, where I just, like, figure it out, and then, oh, now I just need to do this one thing over and over again, and I'll be set for life, and I'll be a millionaire and a successful YouTuber and all that stuff. Like, I very highly doubt that that's just gonna happen. It's more than likely gonna be something that happens over time, and I'm probably not gonna expect it when it does happen. Like, it might be a video or idea that I think is, like, kind of shit, but I had fun making it, and then it gets a jillion views. Who knows? Like, that's the thing. I don't know what my golden ticket is gonna be, and, you know, it's just odd to think about. And maybe there's not gonna be a golden ticket. Maybe I'm gonna be one of those people who just, like, kind of creeps up over time, and then, you know, after a few years, yeah, sure, I'm getting up there, but I just don't know. And I think no matter what, that fear of the unknown is going to scare me, because I think that's just kind of my personality, is that I'm nervous when it comes to how I'm perceived by the world and by other people. And I don't think that's something that's just going to go away. But I definitely do think that it's something that I want to, I guess, just try to not make... I don't want that to be all I think about, because I feel like it has been recently. It's been all I think about. All I think about is like, oh, is this idea good, or is this idea gonna work well? And I feel like I just want to make my stuff, you know, talk to friends, you know, bounce it off of people, and then if it's good, it's good. If it's not, then I learn from it. You know, like, I really think that's all I can ask for at this point. Is just finding out what I really, and I mean really like doing. Because I know I like making content. I know that. But there's so many different kinds. And I think that finding out what really clicks for me is gonna be... It's gonna be hard, but I think it's gonna be fun. I think it's gonna be fun. And, I mean, granted, who knows? If I get... Like, obviously, the thing that I want to do the most is just whatever the fuck I feel like it. Like, my dream is just to be, you know, variety. Like, Markiplier style, where I just kind of go around, you know, do whatever, make stuff that's fun because I feel like it. But I have to get there. You know what I mean? You have to get to that point. It doesn't just happen, you know? You have to work towards that. You have to get to a point where you have a stable enough audience to kind of work off of. I guess that's kind of the way it's been put by a lot of friends that I've talked to, is that once you have that, like, stable enough audience that you're, like, you know, within algorithms, you're, like, quite viewable on Twitch, it becomes much, not necessarily easier, but it becomes simpler. Because then it doesn't become a matter of trying to find a way to attract people, then it becomes trying to find a way to just, like, make better and more interesting content. Because once you know that people are gonna watch, then it's just a matter of refinement, I guess is a really good way of putting it. Yeah, I'm sort of in that, I'm just sort of still in that sculpting phase, you know, where I'm just trying to, like, I'm trying to figure out what I'm making, and then once you have that sort of set audience, that's when you start kind of the polishing phase of really narrowing down what it is that you're good at and what it is that you're, like, true, as cringe it is to say, your final shape is. God, I'm still thinking about Destiny. But I mean, I do think it is true, you know, like, I think content, like many things in life, is something that sort of just comes and goes in phases. And that's kind of the inevitable. Like many things, it's gonna come and go in phases. Like, that's what life is. Life is experienced in phases. For all I know, I could not be a YouTuber in, like, 10 years. Who the fuck knows? I could be an actor. Like, you never know. Like, I think that's the thing with content especially. It's still such a new thing. Like, for example, Markiplier, who is, like, one of the... Well, I don't want to say he's one of the oldest, but he's, like, one of the oldest and most successful content creators out there. For all we know, when he's 50, he could be a fucking musician. Like, you just don't know. Like, it's just so many ideas, I guess. It's just ideas right now. Yeah, I think that's a really good way to put it. I'm in the just idea phase where everything is just sort of a concept right now. It's all just drawings on a board, and I just need to bring them into reality. I need to bring those drawings to life, bring those ideas to fruition, and really just try my best to not only make the things that I want to make, but also just become a better person in the process. I mean, because that's also just, like, that's the only other thing you could ask for, right? Outside of just making things that you enjoy and being successful with it, is also just finding your own, I guess, enjoyment in it. Finding your own, like, sense of enlightenment and purpose in the stuff that you make. Because I do think that that's definitely a big part of content creation. Not just content creation, but creation in general. Like, anything where you're making stuff for people to consume, a big part of that is always going to be, you know, finding yourself, finding out like why you do these things, finding out what your purpose, in life is. And well, that is like a very like, of course it's daunting to say like, oh, like I have to find my purpose in life through content. I don't necessarily have to find purpose. I don't have to do anything. Like the only thing I have to do is succeed. Like that's the only thing that's not really an option, is I have to succeed in some way, shape, or form, because otherwise I can't keep doing it. But once I can find like a baseline of succeeding, after that, it's really just a matter of growing as a person. I think a really good way of putting it was, I was watching Trash Taste today, the podcast with Connor, or CDawgVA, the Anime Man, and Giguk. And one thing that really caught my attention was there was a discussion where they were doing hot takes. They were reading viewers' hot takes, and one of the viewers' hot takes was, essentially, it boiled down to money can buy happiness. And while there is a level of that they agreed with and that I agree with, there's also a level that at some point, after you do like get however much money you want, and you don't really have to worry about like paying rent or buying food or buying gifts, like once you are very comfortable with the amount that you earn and you're able to do pretty much whatever you want financially, it sort of becomes a matter of, I guess, growing as a person. Because after you have all of that money, there's really nothing else you can do besides be creative with it. Like, of course, like you can buy whatever you want, like within reason, within however much you make. Like if you're a millionaire, you can buy some fancy cars. If you're a billionaire, you can buy some fancy planes, whatever it might be. But after that, it just does, like, there's a plateau to it, right? Like, sure, you can buy, whatever you want, but then after you can buy whatever you want, what do you do? What do you do with what's left? Because then what's left is just you. Like, you might have that plane, but then you're just going to be sitting in a fancier and fancier plane. You're going to be sitting in a fancier house. You're going to be eating fancier and fancier food. But at some point, it's not really going to fulfill you anymore. And at that point, that's where all you've got left is your creativity and your curiosity. And I guess, like, I think that's definitely, like, that's something that I've talked about on stream, right? Is, like, one of the biggest messages I can give to new creators is the main thing that drives you should not be money. It should be creativity and curiosity. Those should be the two things that drive you no matter what. Because at the end of the day, when you do succeed, like, that's all you're gonna have left, is that creativity and curiosity. And if you don't have that creativity and curiosity, like, if your only goal is money, then eventually you're gonna start running out of shit to do. Whereas if your main driving force is creativity and curiosity, there's always gonna be, like, some idea that you can come up with. There's always gonna be, like, something that you can do. There's always gonna be, like, some sort of idea that you can have that you can transform into some sort of content. No matter how dumb or weird it might be, there's always going to be something. And I think that that's definitely true. And I think that, while I'm not at that point of success yet, I fucking wish, I still do think that that idea can be, applied. Like, I think it can definitely still be applied, that I do still, regardless, want my main driving forces to be creativity and curiosity, And while I do need to find success, because just for sake of sustainability, I think that regardless, that success isn't going to be found by just having a drive to succeed more. It's going to be found by really looking within myself and just, I guess, finding something new. Because I guess, like, that's in my mind, that's what I have to provide, right? Like, as a creator, I have to provide something new that no one's ever seen before in order to succeed, right? Because, I mean, the idea is, like, that's all you're really supposed to provide, right? Is that, like, you're supposed to provide new things. As a creator, I mean, it goes within the name. You're supposed to provide ideas. You're supposed to create things. And I definitely do still think that that's, like, what my goal is. Like, it's still just to create, to make new stuff for people, and to inspire other people to make new stuff as well. And I think that the fact that I'm still, like, solid, that, like, I think the fact that that's still, like, very much in my mind is a good sign. Even despite the fact that, like, I have been struggling lately just to kind of cope with, like, working very hard to, like, make cool stuff, putting out so much of my energy and not really having it lead me anywhere. I think that despite that, the fact that I'm still able to say that I am still me and I'm still making stuff based on my own curiosity and creativity, it's very comforting. It's very, very comforting, because at the very least I can know that, like, even if I'm not succeeding, I am still making things that I enjoy, and that even if not as many people as I would want to are enjoying it, that there are still people that are enjoying it. Like, I think that's something that I don't say enough, is that, like, even if I don't have everything, I still have some stuff, and I adore what I have. Like, I don't say it enough, like, as much as I, you know, yell at my chat and are mean to people in the comments, in a joking manner, of course, always, I still definitely do, I don't say it enough, but God, I adore every single one of those people. I adore every single one of you, because, like, even if you don't realize it, you guys are what push me forward to make new things. Like, seeing how what I do affects you, seeing how the things you do affects you. Like, one big part of my community is that the vast majority of my community are either artists or are very interested in art. And, like, watching how the artists in my community have evolved in even just the short time that I've been doing this has been amazing. Like, I wish I could express to you guys how cool it is to see people's, like, styles evolve. Like, these are like adults who have been doing art for ages, and even then, like, it's just transformation that I love seeing it. I love seeing, like, how much people are able to grow and change over time, and how much that, at least they say, I've been able to be a part of that. Like, how much that I've apparently affected that, which a big part of me doesn't want to believe it, but the other half of me is like, I don't think these people are lying to me, so maybe I have done right as a creator. And I guess, not even maybe, I guess that's confirming that I have done right as a creator, because I very clearly, according to dozens of people at this point, hundreds even, that I have made an impact. Like, I have been able to inspire them and guide them towards making the things that they want to make without worry, without as much fear. And that's really all that I can ask for. And I'm really, really happy about that. I'm really, really happy that it seems like I have been able to do what I wanted to do. I have been able to really, you know, bring people closer to doing what they love. And I can't, with any sort of proper words or any sort of confidence, explain how that feels, but it's an incredible feeling knowing that I've been able to change people, like, change their perspectives on so many things, and just guide them towards being, you know, being happy with what they do. I guess what I'm trying to say here is that despite everything, I'm still, to quote Undertale, despite everything, I'm still me, and I'm still very, very happy with where I am. I'm still very happy with what I've been able to do and what I've been able to accomplish, and I couldn't be more thankful for that. And I just wish that I talked about it, and also just, you know, told myself more that I am doing good. Like, I'm doing a good job. I am making a difference, and I am making a change, and I'm doing what I love. I'm doing what I love doing. And I've been lucky enough to be surrounded by people who make it very clear to me that I am. And I'm very, very, very thankful for that. And I wish I told people more how thankful I am. Well, that was that was a sort of a sad rant, but anyways, on a more exciting topic, I've been really happy with how things have been progressing in terms of like quality upgrades. Like, I really do feel like I'm getting to a point where it's sort of a double-edged sword, because like on one side I'm sort of plateauing in terms of how much better I can make my streams without just like spending a bunch. And like, of course there are still like a lot of things left to do, but I guess, yeah, I don't want to say I'm reaching a plateau. That's the wrong wording, but I'm definitely getting to a point where like I'm quite happy with the quality of my streams and of the things that I am making, which is, I think that's a really good sign. I think that's definitely a sign that I've improved a lot, because I think that for sure when I started out, I was not confident at all with like the quality of my streams. I was constantly thinking about like, oh, like the audio quality must be bad, or this might not be doing well, or whatever it might be. Whereas now I'm much happier and I'm much more just like, I think that my stuff is actually pretty well made. And I think that my quality is not actually that bad anymore. Like, I've got, my mic is all set up now, my Wi-Fi is not really having trouble anymore, and everything's pretty well-rounded. Like, there's not really much more I could ask for in terms of quality. Like, of course, there are still things that I can make, right? Like, there are still things that I can add, and there are still things I'm going to add, you know? Like, there's still, like, a lot of changes that I want to make, you know, things that I want to do, stuff that I want to add to the stream, like, maybe more redeems, more emotes, or whatever it might be. But I feel like the base level of my stream is something that I'm now really proud of. And I'm very happy about that. Because I think that that's something that, at least when I started out, I think that's definitely what I struggled with the most, is, you know, telling myself that, like, my stream is shit, like, that my quality was bad, and that there was, like, always something wrong with the stream. Whereas now it's like, at any given point, I'm like, yeah, I think the stream's actually doing pretty well. Like, I'm happy with how things look, I'm happy with how things sound, and it seems like other people enjoy it too. Like, my fans, my viewers have been saying that, like, yeah, the quality is really nice, and everything is just really cohesive and just well put together and well formed. Like, it feels like, according to other people, like, and myself, I just feel more professional, which feels really nice. It feels really nice not only to hear that, but to, you know, think about it myself, right? Because I feel like for the longest time, I was just like, oh, this is bad, that's bad, you know, whatever. Whereas now I'm finally like, just, yeah, things are good. You know, things are nice. You're doing a good job. And I'm really happy about that. Because I feel like it's definitely a very big step. It was definitely a learning curve trying to get to that. And on the other side of that, actually, which I'm really excited about, is that now I feel like I really have the authority to, you know, tell people what they can do to, you know, help improve their quality. Like, I feel like my stream, I feel like a professional at this point, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And I'm really happy about that, because, you know, it's nice to feel like you're doing a good job. It's almost like wearing a nice suit, right? You just feel like you feel good, you know? You feel good. Like, I almost see my streams as, like, my apparel now, where, you know, look good, feel good. If the quality's good, I feel good. Like, it helps me be a lot more confident with my streams. I think without a doubt it helps me be a lot more confident in my streams, knowing that they are a good quality baseline. So I've been really happy about that as of late. I think that's definitely been the thing that I've been most excited about. I think I already talked about last Yap Sesh about the TikTok that did really well. Still trying to figure out how that happened. I still have, to this day, like, one of these days I'm gonna understand how, like shorts and TikToks do well. Or, like, one day they're gonna, like, blow up and I'm gonna, like, finally know how to do well with them. But God, until then, it's such a mystery to me. It's such a mystery. Because, like, that TikTok was, like, the most random, out-of-the-blue shit, and it just got, like, tenfold more than anything else before it. And I'm just like, why? Why? And then, like, I'll try to replicate certain things, and then it won't do well, so it's like, maybe it's not about the content, maybe it's about, like, the time I posted it, and then maybe I try posting it at that same time, and then it doesn't do well, and it's just... it's so many mysteries, man. It's so many mysteries, and... God, I wish I could just figure it out. I wish I could just inject the knowledge into my brain, or just figure out how to do it. It's definitely a big stressor, but at the same time, it's kind of fun. It's kind of fun, you know, not knowing, just constantly being like, ooh, I wonder if I try this, how this will do. And ooh, that succeeded really well. Maybe I'll try that again. You know, it's cool. It's cool to just like mess around and experiment with stuff. And I think for sure it's been one of my favorite things, to be honest. Just experimenting. Just sitting there, just like thinking about, like, one thing that I've actually been getting really, really good at as well is thinking of skits to do. Like, I feel like I'm much more cohesive when it comes to my brainstorming sessions. Which that's another thing I've been doing lately is, like, having actual brainstorming sessions, which, thinking back on it now, I learned how to do that in, like, middle school engineering class, and God, I'm actually surprised that it turns out to be helpful. Because, yeah, like, what I'll do is I'll get my notebook where I write down all my ideas, and I'll just, like, sit somewhere, I'll have a show on, or I'll listen to music, and I'll just kind of let my thoughts kind of flow wherever. I'll just look around the room, and then I'll be like, oh, that thing in the room reminds me of this, which reminds me of this story. Oh, I could turn that story into content. And then I just write the concept down in my notebook. And then I make a script and make it into content. And it's a pretty smooth process, actually. I think really the best thing I can do for that right now is probably learn how to edit those story things myself. But I think editing is probably going to be one of the biggest learning curves. Not in terms of actually doing it, because I think I do have the skills for editing. Like, I have the base knowledge. Like, I took classes on it. Like, I do know what I'm doing, and, like, I know how to find out what to do. Like, I know how to research all that stuff. I think the issue for me in editing is going to be developing the patience for it, just to be honest. Because I think that, for sure, my patience with editing is just... it's so abysmally small. And I think that's got two sides. I think part of it is just that my patience isn't that great in general, because, you know, ADHD, it can make that, you know, a bit more difficult. Whereas if I have my medicine, right? And sometimes I can take that, and that does work pretty well sometimes, actually. I've tried it as of recently, and it can actually be quite the help. So I might do that some more. But I think it's going to be a two-part process where I'm going to have to learn to be faster with my editing and also just be more patient with it. I think for long-form videos, that's going to especially apply because obviously they take longer to make. With short-term, I think there is going to be more to learn in terms of actual editing skills, because obviously that's it's not completely different, but there are dramatically different aspects to learning short form editing, right? As opposed to learning long form. Like, long form is something that I've known how to do because obviously it's similar to, like, editing a movie or editing a, like, you know, it's something that is taught still. Whereas, like, short-term vertical editing is, like, when I was a kid, that wasn't even a concept. That wasn't even... no one thought of that. No one knew about it. No one even thought that was going to be a big thing. Whereas now it's like one of the most valued things you can be as an editor is a short form editor. Like, that's a skill now. People pay big money for that. Like, social media companies, that's why they hire, like, a lot of remarkably young people to do their editing, because, like, a lot of people nowadays are really, really good at it. They're really good at making these short form edits, whereas for me, that just wasn't something that I learned. It just wasn't. It wasn't something that I learned. And I think it's something that I can work on for sure. And I will say, on the topic of short formatting for like TikTok and stuff, I think that's definitely something that I could do in order to try to get better at it, is by making more things like TikToks, where I just record, like if I just have an idea to, you know, make a little thing demonstrating facial expressions or something, I can just record that, pop it in, and then, you know, just make some shit out of it. Instead of like, because I feel like that's another thing, is I feel like I'm trying to tell myself that like everything that I put out has to be like super high quality production. Not to say that like everything that I make is like a high quality production. Most of the stuff that I make is dog shit. But I do think that like, ooh, this thing looks good. Actually paid attention to the game for a second. That was terrifying. But I definitely do think that like I focused on, because like one of my biggest inspirations, right, has been Rin Penrose. And I think making every single video like as high quality as hers, where there's like a clear story, you know, there's like a really good hook, as opposed to just like, if I wanted to make like a little video about how I made a sandwich that morning, I could make that and just maybe do some more minimalistic editing. But, you know, it's something, like it's out there, and then maybe over time that minimalistic editing will turn into a lot more than minimalistic editing, and I can really get somewhere with it. Like, I just don't know, and I think that I just need to be more okay with just like trying out random shit like that, you know what I mean? Just being okay with, like, as funny and quirky as it is to say, just being okay with just like, you know, being random, just trying out random stuff, just trying out stuff for the sake of, you know, for fun, just having fun with the content that I make, just having the ability and the confidence just to say that like, why not? Why not make this thing, you know, might not do well, might do well, but then, hey, if it doesn't do well, not that many people will see it. If it does do well, then, hey, I've gone viral. Because it is definitely a case of you miss every shot you don't take. And I don't think that could be any more true. Like, I need to start taking more shots, taking more initiative, just being more active in terms of how I pursue my content and how I pursue the things that I want to make. And I guess just really, you know, pursuing it more. Just being more, you know, happy and excited for the things that I make. I think that's a pretty good place to end it. I'm gonna finish the zombies map afterwards. I'm gonna kick ass. I'll tell you guys in the description if I actually beat it or not. But I do hope you guys enjoyed. Here, let's actually pause and take a second. I do hope you guys have enjoyed this episode of the Weekly Yap. Again, this is the second time I recorded it. I had a first one, but I feel like it was really, you know, incohesive. I've been recording this for, Christ, 48 minutes. These are getting longer every time. By week 7, we're gonna have 3-hour-long weekly app sessions. But yeah, I do hope you guys enjoyed this. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe down below. Ooh, the buttons just glowed. But yeah, this is really fun. I'm glad that I started this series. And yeah, I will be doing more of them. Next week, I'm probably gonna be talking almost exclusively about TwitchCon. Because, you know, it'll be a week from then. And, oh, God. I don't think I'm ready for that. But anyways, I hope you guys have enjoyed. And remember, I will see all of you in the next one. Bye!